Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining CyberConnect today. We have wonderful guests, and we're starting today with our cybersecurity professionals in practice. And I'm going to ask the guests to introduce themselves. To begin with, could you please introduce yourself, your current position, describe your primary responsibilities in that role?
So I guess I'm the first.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Francisca, for having me. My name is Gaurav Singh. I work for Under Armour as a senior cybersecurity manager. I would say, if you ask me to introduce, so I'm a book author right now. I would say I wrote a recent book, as you can see in my background cover as well. It's called Cybersecurity for SAP. So I don't know for audience if you know SAP. It's a enterprise resource planning system. Like a companies, they run their finance, their supply chain, other business operations on the ERP, and SAP is the market leader. So I'm responsible for protecting the ERP and SAP ecosystem for Under Armour. Been in the industry for almost 20 plus years. So that's me. I will pass on to Peter.
Thanks, Gaurav. Thanks, Francisca and Philippa. Appreciate being invited to come back. So I'm Peter Schawacker. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Nearshore Cyber. We're a cybersecurity services company based out of Oaxaca, Mexico. We're also dual headquartered in a place called Dallas. Our job is to connect talent in emerging markets like Mexico, Philippines, Greece, Turkey, South Africa, places like that, with clients in the United States. Good enough.
Thanks, Peter. I don't think I can beat you. I mean, that was just stellar, man. My name is Reanna Schultz. I've been in the field for 8 years. I primarily have a background in cyber defense, so a lot of detection engineering, firewall management, and then also SOC work. I have a lot of passion projects or more projects than I would say entrepreneurship. But I do have my own podcast called Defenders and Lab Coats. A few of you have been guests on there, which is awesome. Besides that, I love eating spaghetti and I have a dog. So there you go. Kaiser?
Hi, thanks for inviting me to the panel, Francesca. I really appreciate you inviting me and I'm glad to be here. So my name is Kaiser Clark. I am a full-time penetration tester, which is a form of ethical hacker. I work for a company called Kirkpatrick Price. It's a consulting firm, and our goal as pen testers is to find vulnerabilities in networks and web apps before cyber criminals do, and then we report those vulnerabilities to the client. And in my free time, I make a lot of content. I focus mostly on YouTube and LinkedIn, but I do post pretty much everywhere. And I was one of the guests on the Defenders Live Codes that Reanna hosts, so that was a really fun time. So, yeah, I'm on cyberspace everywhere, so I'm always willing to connect with people.
I love that. Welcome, everybody. My next question is, if you could reimagine how people break into cybersecurity today, what would you do differently to make the journey more accessible? Gaurav, start with you here on this one.
Yeah, I think when I was thinking about that, I would say what we are doing right now, right? Listen to maybe somebody whom you kind of embody and see, okay, I want to be like maybe Reanna, or I want to be like a Peter or Kaiser, right? So I think, find your mentor, look for learning, and I think whatever they have done in their to be where they are, that would be my one thing. And there are multiple things, there are multiple facets, but I'll pick that one. Find a mentor, find somebody whom you'll be you want to be like him or her, and I think learn from her or him, and I think go on the journey. This is not one day thing, so it's a continuous learning and evolution for even for us. Like we are learning every day, right? So it never stops. So that would be my take. Peter?
So we're taking turns this way for those who don't understand the order in the audience. But I would, if I were not already in cyber, I mean, I think back to when I was in IT. I didn't know I was going to get into cyber. I had no plan to get into cybersecurity, and I think that was the right approach. Like I kept an open mind, and I focused on doing the job that I had as well as I could. And then I happened to get invited into cyber. So I think the idea of breaking into cyber is a false one. I think what I would suggest doing is be good at what you're doing. If you don't have an office job, if you've never worked in an office, get an office job. If you can get an office job that involves IT directly, great, do that. If you're not there, find the IT people and ask them about their jobs and decide, like, would I want to do that? The most important thing over the long term is to find something that you're willing to sacrifice for. And that means you need to have an abiding fascination with that area. If it happens to be cyber, great. The other thing I would suggest is recognize that cybersecurity shows up everywhere. Everywhere. If you're doing cloud engineering, you're doing security. If you are doing networking, you're doing security. If you're doing systems administration, you're doing security. If you're doing web application development, your security is involved wherever you look. And so it may not be a matter of like, how do I break into security, but how do I apply security to what I'm already doing?
Yeah, and to kind of piggyback off of that, I think one of the really cool things that we don't talk much about is the unique backgrounds as to how everyone got into cyber. I worked at a chicken wing restaurant here in the States called Buffalo Wild Wings. So if you ask me how to cook chicken, don't, because I don't remember. But a lot of different principles do apply to cyber, whether it's customer service, where it's working with the business. A lot of the time, cyber might appear as a roadblock for a lot of people. And so it's really knowing how to sell security essentially to the business, and then also knowing your craft. There are so many different corners in cybersecurity, and it's just really knowing how to get exposed to all those different elements and finding your passion, because that's really where you find your hunger and your drive for continuous learning.
Kaiser?
I think when it comes to breaking into cyber, a lot of people think there's like one path or like maybe a couple set paths, but the reality is there's infinite paths into the field, and everyone comes from different backgrounds. So for me, I broke into cyber by joining the United States Air Force into cyber defense operations. I did that for 6 years, got out of the military, became a pen tester, and that was the way I did it. And that's just a way. And as Reanna pointed out, like she came from the Buffalo Wild Wings, and you don't have to be super tech savvy, and you don't have to like get started at a young age. You can literally start right now and start working your way. It is difficult to break into cybersecurity right now for various reasons, and I think for me, coming out of the military, and one of the reasons why I actually decided to go from like system administrator in the military to becoming a full-time pen tester was because I kept seeing cybersecurity is a growing field. There's millions and millions of filled jobs, and I think that's a myth. There's really not millions and millions of filled jobs. And if I would have known that, I might not have pursued the cybersecurity route, because I didn't realize how hard it was. So it is difficult. It isn't just you if you're trying to break in. If I was to do anything differently, I honestly wouldn't do anything different. I thought my path was pretty good, and I learned a lot, and I enjoyed it. But when it comes to breaking in, if you're in that position where you're trying to break in, just know that you don't have to follow a set path, and really the world is your oyster, and you can do it your way. So one of the things that helped me out was a lot of certifications, and I point that out because not everybody has a lot of certifications, and you don't have to have a bunch of certifications to break in. That's what I did, but that's just a way of many ways.
He's being very humble. If you look at his background, it's definitely not certifications. Those are like his artistic abilities to draw a certification. So no, I'm kidding.